Greetings, this is your God State check-in, and the good word for today is gods don't consider consequences. Nah, nah, the gods don't consider consequences. When God said, let there be light, there was no further consideration for what would happen thereafter, what that would look like, what could possibly go wrong or right. He said, let there be. And that was the end of it. It was final. Huh? Let me preface this first by saying what you're about to hear is absolutely bad advice. Now, you could be thinking, well, Rook, why you going to get your ass up here and give us bad advice? Well, no, I didn't say I was giving bad advice. I said what you hear might be bad advice, depending on what you hear. Right? I'm giving you the facts. I'm giving you the truth. However, it's almost like David Goggins, right? You ever look at David Goggins' content? Straight beast mode. Now, David is not, I hope you know this, David is not suggesting that you need to do what he's doing. Because if you attempt to do what he's doing, then you're going to die. You know why? Because you don't have the mind for it. See, if you go out and attempt a 15-mile, whatever, 20, 30-mile, whatever, and you out there and you lose feeling in your feet and your legs and your toes, and you start pissing blood, and you try to keep going, yeah, you're going to shock. You're going to pass out. Why is that? Because you ain't got the mind for it. See, David has cultivated the mind that there is no circumstance greater than I. That's what he's done. It's not about debating whether you like the way he does it, whether you think he's going over the top, whether you think he's being a bad example by taking things to the extreme. His message is not to do what I do. That's not what he's saying. What he's showing you is that one, there's another way to go about this life thing, and two, what you are capable of far exceeds what your limited mind tells you. He said, the world needs doctors, it needs teachers, and lawyers. Doctors, teachers, and lawyers, but it also needs savages. I like that. I ain't here to tell you that you need to be a savage. I ain't here to tell you that you are a savage. I don't know what you are. Only you know that. It's whatever you say you are. However, what I know is that having the right talking points when it comes to this game and actually living it and being able to check yourself and guide your mind and your attention and your focus and your awareness, that's something different. That's different. So gods don't consider consequences. And this off rip is going to disqualify most people because you don't know how not to do that. I don't really think you understand when I say you have to choose between what's going to be your guiding light. You still here in the physical, right? You are both physical and you are both non-physical, but can't but one thing be the driver. There can only be one driver. I don't care how much people riding shotgun, they comment on how you driving and what you need to do. Can't but one person be in that driver's seat. It's almost like there's a conversation that comes up on Twitter it cycles through every few months, and it's about health insurance. And the question, well, is usually someone who is shocked to find out that for whatever reason, they might have had health insurance at one point and then they didn't have it. And then they had to do self-pay and they found out self-pay is about 10 times cheaper. It's about 10 times cheaper if you just pay direct and you don't have no insurance than the cost of what they're billing your insurance companies. And I always repost it, and I kind of get a chuckle out of it. And because I've spoken about this for years, especially when people ask me about health insurance. I don't know what you need to do, bruh. That's what you see. This is what you need to understand. You are the authority in your life. You are the authority. So even when I say that this conversation is bad advice, what I'm saying is that you take responsibility for whatever you decide to do with what you hear. Because I don't like the idea that people be like, yeah, I followed them, I listened to them, and I quit my job, and I shouldn't have. That was your fault. That was your fault, nigga. Yeah, they scammed me. I bought their course, and it wasn't what I thought it was. That's not a scam, nigga. They promoted something, they sold something, you bought into the promotion, you felt the need to buy, and you bought it. You can go kind of back and forth of whether or not you think that they are a good business person, or whether they oversold it and underdelivered. You can say that, but you can't say it was a scam. Now, if you bought it and then they didn't give you the course, okay, that would be a scam. But I don't like this idea where you're trying to come online into this space, and you as the adult and the authority on life, listening to different perspectives, listening to different information, and you're deciding what to do with that, and then you're gonna come back and say it's somebody else's fault. She told me I should leave home, and I left my man, and now I got regrets. That's your fault. That's your fault. So coming back to this insurance thing, I don't know what you need to do about insurance. I last had insurance, my last real job, okay? And that was 2008. Right when the mortgage collapsed, what do they call it? The bubble, what was it called? The housing bubble? No, I didn't get fired. I was on a 3-year contract, and my contract happened to end. And all of us who were on contracts, anybody that wasn't like a long-term or, permanent employee in my department, their contracts weren't renewed. That's just what it was. And so in about, I think it was like they gave us what do you call it? Kind of like a grace period. It didn't end abruptly on our last day. It might have been like 3 months after that, maybe 6 months. I don't remember exactly. So we'll say 2009. So I haven't had any since then. But Rook, what about? I mean, what if something happened? Not in my reality. I I didn't consider consequence. Well, Rook, what if you needed to do? I didn't consider the consequence. But what if? See, that's why you need it, because you consider the consequence, right? There's not a right or wrong, good or bad here. You consider the consequence. You consider, what does the consequence mean? That which follows some sort of action. Whatever action that you take, you believe that there's something that follows that. So your mind goes to, if I don't have this, this is my safety net. And if I don't have it, something negative, there could be a penalty. There could be some sort of negative consequence to this. I don't have those thoughts. I haven't thought about it. I didn't think I needed it. So I haven't needed it. Huh? Know thyself though. Know thyself. Don't go. I ain't telling you to go and cut your insurance off. That's not what I'm telling you. It's just an example, just a conversation here. Know thyself. Because if I did, see, know this about me. I got good common sense. So if at any point in time that I felt a strong fear about something, that this is something that I need, I will go and get it. I'm just saying, for this, it's not something I don't ever think about it. You understand what I'm saying? I don't ever think about it. It's not a worry of mine. It's not a concern of mine. So that's just what it is. And as we're moving through life, this is why you can't be who you say you are. At least not yet. Because you consider the consequence. That's what you do. You consider, see, although I thought this was not an issue for me, I did consider, like, I went through this streak probably from about 14 to, it didn't last long. It was about maybe 2 or 3 years. of rebelliousness as a teenager, right? And I felt it's so crazy how it really makes sense to me now, looking back on how I just felt like I was like trying to bind me. And some of this I think is just nature, right? As you go through puberty and you're stepping into this transition from child to young adult, like I can't be bound, bro. And I felt like I was bound. And it's when you have grew up and you've been reared under the thumb of fear and aggression. Like I can control you by way of this, and then something happens within you that you realize that I ain't got no more fear of that. What you gonna do? What you gonna do with me? What you gonna do when all that goes out the window? And so yeah, in the words of Mom Dukes, I was a piece of work. I was a piece of work, and I just stopped caring about the consequences. I ain't saying you should do that, but I stopped caring about the consequence. So I did end up doing what I call breaking my mother's heart, and that weighed on me as I got older. And I didn't want to break her heart again. I wanted to right my wrongs. Wrong move. Wrong move. The worst thing you can do is get into the mindset of right and wrongs. Ain't no wrongs. What wrongs do I got to right? What? I did what I knew to do based on who I was, based on my understanding of things, based on my awareness. What do you mean, my wrongs? Burden. That's what you do. You strap that on your back. And so, as I've navigated through life, I started considering the consequence of doing what I knew I was supposed to be doing. What if I say something? And, I ain't worried about the backlash to me, but, how does it get back to Mom Duke? She got to try to explain. She really don't know what's going on. I considered the consequence. Guys don't consider the consequence. Well, Rook, that was a good thing to do. That's a good thing as a daughter. You don't get it. I didn't say nothing about being no daughter. I said gods don't consider consequences. Because considering that consequence, what it did was it put a burden on my back that I ended up ultimately carrying. Huh? You're not listening to me. You're not listening. You're not listening. Throughout life, every phase, they say you go through a cycle, what, every 7 years? It's so funny because I started thinking back through like, damn, I went to like 7, okay, 14, 21, oh, 28, oh my God, 35. Like it started coming together like, damn, there really is, okay. There was some major shifts or major themes of my life during these periods of time. But all of it had to do with me stalling out. I remember right as my life was collapsing 2 years ago. I had to tell my ex. Finally. I can't be who I'm called to be and be a wife. Unfortunately. I can't. I've tried. He was like, nah. He was like, nah, you've done an amazing job. I appreciate that, but there's a lot more going on underneath the surface. Because I had to consider the consequence. There were things that I knew I was supposed to be doing. There were ways in which I knew I was supposed to be doing it, but I had to consider when you were part of a team, right? I had labels. See, the daughter was a label. The wife was a label. I ain't got no problem with them. These are roles. I got no problem with them. But I had to decide. See, a choice got to be made. Only one thing gonna be in the driver's seat. You can argue with me about this all you want. And so everything I did, I put, ugh, became a burden. Are you listening to what I'm saying? I had to consider the consequence because I don't want to, if I do something or say something, that impacts. It's not just me. It's not just me. I gotta consider how this reflects on him. I gotta consider how this reflects on the family. So I gotta pull back. It's just as slow as this inching, pulling back slowly, slowly. I'm going somewhere with this. Just stay with me. Inching back slowly and slowly. Start stalling out. You get going because I already know where a lot of you are. You've been cycling. You've been cycling. And you'll get going and you'll get motivated, you get inspired, and then there's something you got to consider. There's some consequences to you really stepping out and doing it. It's some consequences for you really moving into this thing and being the mind that I have had was I'm I'm the done daughter, bro. Like I can get if anybody can get it done, I can get it done. I can have it all. I can do it all. That's the mind that I have. Listen, and it's so funny because before everything collapsed, about 3 years prior, it's two things that happened. About 3 years prior, he even asked me. He was like, "Do you think I'm in your way? Do you think I'm holding you back?" And my immediate response was, "Absolutely not. What you talking about? Come on now." No. No, I got to figure this out. That's all I got to do. I just have to figure it out. Right? I'm her. You understand what I'm saying? Like I got to figure it out. I don't have to separate one thing and then no, I'll figure it out. No, absolutely not. Then I remember I know for certain it was after 2020. So it might have been 2021, 2022. And I was in my office where I spent a lot of time. And I got up in the morning and did my routine or whatever. So I was meditating. It was one little guided meditation that Dr. Joe Dispenza had that I really just took a liking to, and I could really zone out. It wasn't that the meditation it wasn't that the meditation was doing it. It was the meditation helped put me in a state of ease that allowed me to do it. Make no mistake about it. But I remember, right, I'd gotten, and any of you have spent any amount of time in stillness and meditating, at a certain point you get really sensitive. You can tell when you're starting to shift, right? You can tell when those brain wave frequencies are starting to shift and you go beyond the mind, you start to feel almost out of body. So I'm in the middle of this meditation. I don't know at what point. I think again it was like an hour. I think it was like an hour meditation I was doing, but I was there, right? Like I'm out of where I'm at. I'm no longer in the house at this time. And I remember hearing, because I think part of the meditation was about just envisioning your life and what your um more so like your life journey, not life journey, but I guess purpose or what you felt called to be doing and being and all that good stuff. And so my mind was going in that direction. And I remember hearing as clear as I'm speaking to you right now. You ready? Catch this. I heard the world will know your name. And I immediately opened my eyes, looked around like the fuck? No, thank you. Didn't ask for that. I got up. When I tell you, I put no thought to that shit. Okay. I know we're doing this. Like we always talk about a sign, send us a sign. Like, no, you don't got many signs. I got up and I was gone and I immediately brought myself out of it. Opened my eyes, got up and got ready. Did my little workout that I would normally do, right? Got dressed, got going. I ain't put no, I didn't ask for that. That was my initial thought. No, thank you. I did not ask for that. I ain't asked for that. Oh, but you did. Oh, but you did. See, it's so interesting that some of us have been called to live really magnificent lives. Who called you? You, nigga. You called you. You are the chosen. Who chose you? You. But we tell these lies like, well, you know what I'm saying? I don't really, what's the thing people like to say? I want the money, but I just don't want I'm not trying to interested in being famous, or I don't want to be well known. I kind of want to be, it's all fear, bro. That's all it is. It's just cope. You ain't figured out how to to get on the throne. Because when you get on the throne, you understand that you dictate every single thing else that happens. You ain't got to have that. There's no worries or no fears of anything else. You don't have to fear about your well-being or anything else. Huh? Go, come on. So we pretend like we don't want it when we've already decided. That hidden aspect of us, what we call the higher self, we've already decided, a decision has been made. And so now as we go against that, we go against our nature, and going against your nature is a recipe for disaster. So after that, I went through a lot of the time that passed, the app that followed that. I don't, it's a blur. I went through days of weeks of months. There are like 2 months I remember. I can't tell you. Not it was like, it's hard to explain. I couldn't make sense of anything. I couldn't feel anything. I would sit down. I have started probably like 3 books. Even got into this little, hired a book coach, and she was good. She was good. No knock on her at all. Got into this little business group, right, with a bunch of ladies, mostly like older white ladies, which was fine with me. I was there just to get a job done. So I didn't care about, I didn't have no particular preferences in regard to anything else. That was cool. And one of the books was like, it was in true Rook fashion. It was something like death, disease. Damn, it was 3 Ds. Was it death, disease, and the devil? And then it had some subtitle or whatever. And so we had one meeting, and we were all sharing the titles that we came up with. And the ladies were like, okay, well, maybe we could, think about what we don't want to do with the title. And she was giving me all the professional whatever. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, like, you don't get the title, but the people who I'm speaking to, they get the title. So the title sounds great to me. But I'm also considering her expertise. So guess what that does to me? Wavering mind. I know what I need to do. I know what I want to say. I know how I want to say it. But now I'm considering the consequences of not following what do you call it? Like the what do you call it? Like the standard. There's a way that you go about doing this. You learn human psychology. You get into the marketing aspect and how do you speak to this of people. And what it does is it knocks you off your game. Because I sat down one weekend and I wrote the first chapter of one book, that particular book. I mean, word for word, bar for bar. No, it wasn't no chat GPT. And I read it after I wrote it. And I was like, what the fuck is this? I mean, it wasn't bad. It sounded good. It sounded like I wrote it how I was expected to write it. That I wrote it how it was supposed to be written. But I'm like, man, I can't put I wouldn't even be able to promote this. Like it feels the opposite of everything that I am and everything that I'm talking about. So I ended up scratching it. I got frustrated with the group. Again, it was nothing about the group per se, because it had everything to do with me. I already knew what to do. I didn't need this. I knew what to do. So I sat back down to attempt to write it again, and I couldn't. I couldn't find no inspiration. What does inspiration mean? In spirit. Hmm. I couldn't find the words. I couldn't find no energy to do anything. I was going through the motion. Some days I get up and sit at my desk all day. I don't know what I do. I just know by the end of the day I go back downstairs, I fix me something to eat. My ex didn't get in till late, and I'd sit there and I'd look like, what are you doing? I don't know. running, running, running from what you know you're supposed to be doing and making excuses for it. Cause I gotta consider the consequences, and there are consequences for me choosing myself. Cause that's what they told us, ladies. That's what they told us. They told us that your best place is having no place. That's what they said. They said strip all yourself down and just hand it over to somebody else. That's what they said. That's what they said. That's what they said. It was that's what a good wife was. I didn't come as an adult. I didn't step into adulthood with an image of the ideal wife, right? Like, ooh, now I would like to be a wife like that. What I came into it with was what I didn't want to be like. And I was like, oh my God, that's awful. Oh, well, you are awful. No, I don't want to repeat that. I don't want to be like that. I don't want to be like that. I don't want to be like that. And so that's what I held to. Just stick to just not being like that. Just not being like that. Just make sure you not. And I did that. I did a good job. And that was so crazy because right before it all exploded, right 10-year anniversary, I'm like, listen, is it anything that you need more from me? Is it anything that I can do to be better? And he was like, no, man, you are everything I imagine and more. He said, any complaints I've ever had, man, you've addressed that and beyond. You would think that would make you feel good, right? You would think that would be like, that's dope. That's amazing. I couldn't feel nothing. I died. I died. And it's so crazy how we are so used to tap dancing around other people. We are so used to managing other people's emotions. So we never really, everybody loves that authentic word. We're not living authentic. You're not actually saying what you really mean. You're not actually being honest. Just being honest, right? Just not being freaking honest. Even when we talk to people, it's through a filter. It's like, I don't want to deal with your unmanaged emotions. So I'm going to kind of give you what I want to give you. Is not that I'm lying, but it's just, I got to reshape it a little bit. And for the first time, I just remember just looking at him, I no longer considered the consequences. This is not what this was about, but whatever. It's all tying in, right? I just said, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Because I was deeply, deeply sorry. I said, I wish that I could stay, but I can't. I said, if I don't leave, I'm going to die. Now, I didn't know I was already dead, but, whatever. That's what I said. I think when I said it, I meant physical. I wasn't speaking spiritually dead. I wasn't speaking figuratively dead. I was like, if I don't leave, I'm going to die. And that's what I did. I chose myself. I did everything they said I shouldn't do. I chose myself. If me choosing me causes my life to collapse, that lets me know I have built my life on sinking sand. That lets me know I've been living a lie all this while. If I am standing on truth, it is impossible that I could choose myself and lose anything. You write that down. Impossible. If by me choosing myself, my life collapsed, I've been living an illusion. And I just decided, man, maybe everybody can't. Maybe everybody can't. Maybe everybody won't. You know what I'm saying? That ain't really my problem. All I know is me. All I know is me and what I'm going to do. And so I just, you know, I burn it all down. Well, what's your plan? I didn't have one. I didn't have one. I don't have one now, actually, truth be told. Mm-mm. 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 Because guys don't consider consequences. Guys move. They move. I finally just let go. I finally say I'll just take the lead. I thought I had jumped. I hadn't jumped. And the reason I felt like my air supply was being, like, you ever seen the summertime? Did y'all have, like, we was poor, so we couldn't get a pool, the little pool to get in. You just had the water hose. You get the water hose and you spray it on each other, right? And after we played with the water hose, at a certain point you see the pressure. It's not quite coming out as strong and as forceful as it was. And we realized that something had happened, and we tried to pinpoint, especially if you had a long what do you call it, water hose. And you learn, and we come to find sometimes you couldn't find it because you had to untwist it. We done twisted it all up, and there'd be like just a slight twisting in the hose that was inhibiting flow. This is why you feel like you starving. This is why you feel like you can hardly breathe. Because there's something in you that is seeking expression, and you've already chose it. You've already chose it. Every time you go against it, it get that twisting get tighter until you get to the point where you barely making it through the days. I'm glad when I went through this, I was not in the normal world of things, because somebody probably would have diagnosed me with some shit like, you know, depression or anxiety or some shit. But I knew enough to know that it was none of that. It was none of that. Those are just labels. But there are periods where I simply can't remember. I don't remember what I was doing or what was happening during those times. All I know is that I had a willingness in the midst of every storm, in the midst of every season of uncertainty. I always had the willingness to surrender. Thy will be done. Thy will be done. Because guys don't consider the circumstances. They don't consider the consequences. They move. They move. Did we get a Bible verse for today? For those of you who are worried. Because I know a lot of people don't move because they're worried. There's a fear. There's a fear. There's a fear, really, of the consequences. I guess this is what it is. Just a fear of the consequences based on guidelines that you've given yourself. The chains that were on me were self-imposed. They were self-imposed. They were self-imposed. But grab your Bibles. Grab your Bibles and go with me. Let's go to John 6:44. For those who are worried that if you choose yourself, that negative consequences could come to you, that there's a potential that you can lose. I want to do a separate video. Somebody commented on the one of the last videos I did. I talked about trusting the heart over the head. And then somebody said, well, the Bible says the heart is deceitful. Great point. I want to talk about what that is and what it means and what it's referring to. Remember, the Bible is always talking about a state of mind. You have to ask yourself, what state of mind is it speaking of and from? Then we got to get into, um, the etymology of words. And the heart represents the subconscious. It represents the mind. So yes, what it's saying, the hidden aspect of you can be deceitful. Hmm. It could be some false appearances. It can be illusory. Is that the word? I think. Let's go to John 6:44. No man can come to me except the Father, which has sent me, draw him. Now, I like to translate it to no man comes to me unless I call him. Can't nothing come to me unless I call it. Can't nothing come to me unless I call it. How can I call it? By way of my awareness. By way of my awareness. No man comes to me except the Father which sent me, draw him. What that mean? What did we say man means in the Bible? Manifestation. So no manifestation can come to me. No thought, no feeling, no circumstance can come to me unless my awareness draws me into that state. Because what is a manifestation? The outer picture of the inner state. So why would I worry? It's telling you that you're in control. That is by way of my awareness that dictates my state. And my state is dictating my manifestations, which are the thoughts that are popping up, the feelings that I'm experiencing, and the things that I'm seeing outside of me. No man comes to me except I call him. Who can do something to you? How can you be in danger? How can a virus? First of all, I don't want to piss myself off with the whole virus talk, okay? And then I don't know what that's inner circle talk because I don't know I don't know what YouTube guidelines are as far as getting into all of that, but to believe that a bacteria that you can't even see, to believe that things that are so small that you have to see it either on a microscope or you can't even see it on a microscope, that you have to have some special high tech, that thing so tiny that in order to test for it, you have to replicate it. You have to multiply it over and over and over and over and over and over, spin it over and over and over and over and over again to tell you, oh yeah, that's what it is. For you to believe that that has the potential to make you sick. Somebody told you that and you accepted it. So that manifestation comes to you. Yes, it comes to you. Why? Because your awareness draws you into that state. Your awareness that, yes, something outside of me, that which, matter of fact, it ain't even outside of you. Because how many billions of bacteria did you have in your body? According to science, it's trillions of microorganisms. Although virus is not a microorganism, but they say viruses, they say bacteria, they say fungi. All these little critters in there. And somehow you've convinced yourself that they have the potential to hurt you. You got E. coli in your gut right now. Why are you not sick? Why you ain't got diarrhea right now? You got MRSA in your body right now. Why you not sick? How does that work, friend? How does that work? But yes, you end up getting sick, and because somebody run a test and they say, we've seen that there's an increase. There's an increase in these type of little critters here. So that must mean it caused it. Does it? Is that what it means? No manifestation comes to me unless my awareness draws me into that state. So what do I put my awareness on? My perfection. I hold no ill will to bacteria. Bacteria holds no ill will to me. I hold no ill will to nature. Nature holds no ill will to me. I come in peace, which means everything and everybody else come in peace. I thought you wanted to live different. I thought you said you was different. I thought you said you were God. I thought this is what you said. I'm confused. I'm confused, friend. I'm confused. I'm confused. Which one is it? Which one is it? Because the fear says, if I don't think this way, Rook, I'm possibly putting myself in danger, which means that is your truth. You have decided that's truth for you, so you need to do that. Just like when you put them drawers on your face and pretend like it was a mask that was protecting you from something. You in your mind considered there was a consequence for not doing so. You considered that there was a consequence from you not standing 6 feet apart from somebody when they made it up. So you telling me I'm crazy. Rook, you just making it up. Well, even if I was, what would it matter? We still ain't talked about that. Let me write that down. We gotta talk about what we get. I don't know. Can I gotta I might have to do that in a circle. I gotta figure out what I come in peace with YouTube. I ain't bang with YouTube. So I'm on their turf. Really, they're on mine, but you know what I mean? So I got to see what I can. I had one video taken down, but I don't even remember saying anything crazy. I did talk about COVID, but nonetheless, there were some lessons there, and we don't want to miss those lessons because they taught you to make it up as you go. That was a master class that they put on. You know what else they taught you? That no matter what the so-called truth is, you lock into what your truth is and don't you move a fucking inch. They get right up there and they be like, well, I thought you said that the general public don't need to put no mask on. I thought the initial what do they do? The studies show that this little jabby jab is not going to prevent transmission. They never even addressed it, never even put attention on it. Oh, manifestation masterclass. I don't even acknowledge what you're saying. You say I was lying. I don't even acknowledge it. I don't acknowledge the lie. I don't know what you're talking about. I play stupid. I love it. I love it. It was a masterclass. It was absolutely phenomenal. Phenomenal. And it was what we collectively were asking for. That's why we got it. That's why you better be real. You better pay attention to what you collectively asking for. That's what you better pay attention to. Because that's what you're going to get. That's what you're going to experience. Nothing can come to you without your awareness on that thing. So the reason why guys don't consider consequences, so they don't put their awareness on it. They don't put their awareness on any. I thought we just said only in my favor. I only think in my favor. I only acknowledge that which I accept to be true. And I always remember that it is only I with the power. It is me that powers everything else. And I power it by way of my awareness. I put my attention on it. I put my attention on it. You ever seen things like you can go on the Twitters or whatever social media, right? And you can see things, right? You can see things. I did a podcast about this a couple years ago. The difference between looking and seeing. I don't remember what episode it was, but I can see things, right? What's the difference from me just seeing it? Am I aware of that? Now we can get into the technicalities, like, real, in order for you to see it, you saw it, so you have to be aware of it. But when I swipe my finger, right, it's what I keep my attention on that I shift my awareness to. So just something popping up, no, it doesn't necessarily mean that that's where my awareness is if I don't keep my attention on it. My awareness. What am I aware of being? Because that's going to draw me into that state. And when I'm drawn into that state, I don't have to wonder why I'm having shitty thoughts. I don't have to wonder why I'm feeling shitty. I don't have to wonder about shitty circumstances. I also don't have to beef with it either. I also don't have to fight it. Let me just, you can, because I've done all of this. I told you, I'm just naturally a practitioner. So I just like to just see, how can I lose by thinking in my favor? I've done robotic affirming. I've done some of the challenges where you robotically affirm something like 50,000 times. How could I lose? I'm just speaking to myself all day long. I'm just actively being conscious of what I'm thinking all day long without putting any thought to it. Can't lose in that unless you overly stressing about it and you trying to force something to happen. But What was the point I was making with that? I don't know. What was he talking about? Oh, gods don't consider consequences. This is why you don't have to consider the consequence. That's the moral of the story. We don't have to consider the consequences, friend. Hmm? Because I don't put my awareness on the consequences. I put my awareness on everything working in my favor. Everything works in my favor because I'm the one in control. Well, Rook, no, you're not in control of all things. Shut up. Shut up. I want you to start being able to catch the loser talk that you got going on. That every single time we talk power, there's some sort of default in you to turn your attention to not having power, not being that powerful. I got power, Rook, but not that much power. No, you have all the power because it is your awareness. What are you aware of? Are you aware of consequences or are you not? I don't know if you should be aware of them or not. Only you know that. Only you know if you're really, you know, here's the thing. Here's the thing about the whole idea of being God. God can get whatever he wants. God creates heaven and hell. So it really don't matter if you want to be God because God is just awareness. So you already are. You already are. I think if you understood how people have been able to shift, not that this is required, but if you understood how people were able to make shifts in their life by way of their awareness, if you understood how people were able to heal their body by way of a shift in awareness, that's like if you understood how people were able to resolve years of so-called trauma, release it completely. How some people are able to, you ever seen two people who've been smoking for 20, 30, 40 years? And one person just stops and is done. They never smoke again. The other person stop, start, stop, start, stop, start, 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 start. They the same person. Be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. It's the mind that has to be renewed. That's what repent means. Repent means to have a change in mind. I have to perceive things differently. So whenever I'm getting confused, whenever I'm getting worked up, what is my attention on? Am I or am I not? Because all the times that I've delayed myself throughout life, guess what I was doing? I was focused on what I was not. I was not quite there yet. I was not quite ready yet. I was not quite prepared yet. It was not quite my time. I was still waiting my turn. That was me at work. Not gonna come up here now and say I was delayed, that it was the enemy, that God was testing me, that unless, I'm acknowledging that it was me doing the testing. That's the only way that I'll play that game. It was me. It was me. I decided I needed to pull back. I decided this was important. Hey, I don't want to, could be consequences to this, Rook. It could be, you don't want to, how's this going? I thought I wasn't that person. I thought I wasn't a person who cared. Like most of us are full of shit when it comes to, oh, I don't care what people think. You do so. You wouldn't be stuck for 5, 10, 15 years if you didn't. You do care. You do care. And if nothing else, you care what you think. You care what your ego has said is good or bad. You have to move beyond duality. You have to move beyond that. And you move beyond it by your awareness of being all that is. We are delaying ourselves. We are putting up our own obstacles, trying to fix ourselves, trying to fix the problem, trying to blame people. If I could tell you, like right off the top of my head, like 5 people come to mind, different ages, one in their 30s, one in their 40s, 50, 60, 70. When you talk to them, guess what they talk about? They can't even help it. They're not even aware of that they're doing it. Childhood. Either a mama that won't shit or a daddy that won't shit. That's the story. Or some baby mama or baby daddy. That's some of that too. But even the baby mama, baby daddy people, if you rewind back enough, it's stemming from some mama or daddy thing. When you could just say that's not who I am. Did you see the headline that came out? Let me see if I can find it real quick. It don't really matter. It don't really matter because you're gonna believe whatever you want to believe. You're gonna believe anything that you want to believe, and you have the tendency to believe the less of yourself. Let's see. Yeah, here it is. Physicists discover a quantum effect where choices made in the present seem to alter events in the past. If you don't like this shit, rewrite it. If white folks ain't taught you nothing else, you should have that. If the man ain't taught you nothing else, whatever parts you don't like, you just rewrite it. Let me see what else it said. Let me see what else it said. It says in a quiet lab in Vienna, a group of physicists ran an experiment that should have been impossible. Talk to me about impossible. Talk to me about impossible, please. They fired two entangled photons, which are particles of light linked across space, into a carefully built quantum setup. One photon was measured immediately. The other was delayed using a long optical fiber. But when they compared the results, something strange happened. The outcome of the first photon's measurement appeared to be influenced by the second. So the thing that happened first seemed to be influenced by that which happened second. So the past seemed to be influenced by okay, come on, stay with me. Stay with me. By the present, right? What did it? Well, let's see. The the outcome of the first photon's measurement appeared to be influenced by the second, which hadn't been measured yet. Somehow, the future was affecting the past. Whoo. Let me see. Is this the same person? Okay, no, that was it. You don't like when the woo woo said, and you don't like when your so-called science says it, even though the woo woo is the original science. But whatever you like. What more do you want? See, it's not evidence that you're after because you got evidence. We got evidence. We got evidence. We got people doing brilliant work. We got, I mean, and the people that y'all like because, you know, you want them to be qualified in a certain way. You want them to have certain titles. Wonderful. I think it's great. Boom, you got that. So now what? I like this is part of what I liked about Dr. Joe Dispenza's. Let me see. The last documentary he did. I like how he compiled a team. And this has really always been his perspective on things, that he didn't like the use of the word God or the use of chakras. He refers to more as energy centers and things like that to get people not to help people not get tripped up in the language, right? People coming in already with preconceived notions about what these labels mean. But in the documentary, let me look it up right quick. I think it's called Source. And we did a watch party in the inner circle. I think this was last year, if I'm not mistaken. Source. And I don't know if it's still free to view or not. Oh, it says it's on major platforms now. So it's on Prime Video and Apple TV. I'm assuming it's included. I don't know. Source is within you. But he compiled a team of skeptics. Yes. I'm talking about scientists, researchers, neuroscientists, doctors who were skeptical of the work. skeptical that people were making bodily changes. They measured, they connected all of these wires to the brain, measuring brain activity. They were skeptical that these people were experiencing this as a result of meditation, that they were going on these 7-day retreats and seeing people have magnificent shifts. I need to go back and pull because they did some great work so that I can really show you what it was that they demonstrated. See, you don't want the evidence. See, when people talk to me about evidence, nigga, if you wanted the evidence, you go looking for it. It's there. You don't want it. But what he did was he showed and proved. Imagine that. One doctor, now he wasn't part of his team, but this was one of the doctors who was in the documentary, had cancer. Stage 3, stage 4. You already know where I'm going. But we got to go. Matter of fact, I want to go back through that. I'm gonna go back through that documentary. I think I should chop it up a little bit and walk through the different pieces of what they reported on and how they ended up getting people, like this whole idea of prayer. See, church people need to watch it because y'all ain't doing this. Y'all laying hands on people. I think y'all putting curses on people. You damn sure ain't healing nobody. Ain't nobody getting up out of no wheelchair at your service. Show it. Show it. Where they at? And if they did, they was nothing wrong with them to begin with. They showed and proved that the physical changes that were happening inside of the body, that were happening to the nervous system, that was happening to the immune system, that was happening to the brain, all by way. Believe whatever you want to believe. All right. Because most people can't do that though, because if they don't go the mainstream route, what do they consider? There are consequences to that. That's why they should go the mainstream route. Right. The people who are trying to prove right now that Tylenol is okay to take when you're pregnant. Like, why did you need? I want you to ask yourself, why did you need? This is similar to the people who waited for the government to tell them that smoking cigarettes with all those terrible ingredients in it wasn't good for the body, the lungs, or anything else. Why did they need to wait for that? Why did you need to wait for this announcement? There are women. I'm going to just assume, I'm going to give it the benefit of the doubt, and I'm going to assume some of the videos that I've seen about women still that are pregnant who are saying they're not going to be swayed by these announcements. They're going to still take the Tylenol anyway, and they're taking it on camera. I'm going to just assume that some of that they're trolling. That's going to be my assumption. But I think if people want to take the Tylenol, let them. If they want to take shots, let them. Let them do whatever they want. Go for it. Go for it. But you shouldn't have needed no announcement to come down from whether it's the FDA, whether it's the USDA, whether it's the the WWE. It shouldn't matter. You shouldn't need no announcement to come down. It should have been common sense. It should have been common sense. Anyway, let me go back. Choices made in the present seem to alter events in the past. Because there is no past. Yeah. How do you know there's a past? Tell me how you know there's a past. Well, because I remember. Oh, so there's a thought. So the only way that you know that there's a past is because you have a memory, you have a picture of something in mind. What if you remove the picture? Well, Rook, that don't change what happened. You sure? You sure? This is why I can't do but so much when it comes to history. I know too much now. And I can't play the same game. So, and I learn. I like to learn from, good examples before me. And what people has called the system, and the structure, and the whatever else you want to call it. What I've learned is that they tell the best stories. They make themselves look the best. When they start telling history, they repeat the best. Y'all get mad. Y'all want to blame them and say they trifling because they ain't telling the full story. Hey, whatever. If I'm telling a story in my reality, this how it went down, bro. This how it went down. I was the best. I was the greatest. I did everything and I did it well. And I kicked everybody else's ass. Okay, that's the story I'm telling. And instead of getting mad about it, if you would just sit for a moment, just for a freaking second, and say, what would happen if I started doing that? I'm gonna play it as a game. I don't even want you to make no life changes. I'm saying start playing it as a game. I'm gonna play the game that my life has been absolutely magnificent. Great family, great upbringing. I'm a nepto. What they call it? Nepotism. I'm the nepto baby. Nepto. You know the hell I'm saying. The baby. I'm the nepo baby. I tell myself all that. We were kings. We were queens. All of that. The magnificent. The best who ever did it. The best who will ever do it. Greatness is all I know. I'm not following. You think I'm going to look up a family tree to see what illnesses everybody else had? The fuck am I going to do that for? Asking me no family history? For what? What does my family history got to do with me? I don't know. I'm glad I don't know. I don't know nobody on my father's side, on my birth father's side. So whatever they got going on, ain't none of my concern. Well, Rook, they could have some things that would shed light on, not in my reality, nigga. Ain't nothing that happened before me shed light on nothing that what's going on with me right here and right now. Shed no light. I shed the light. I am the light. I'm the beginning and the end. It all starts and stops with me. Huh? Telling me. You go look for it. You go look. That's how y'all got finesse doing that dumbass DNA test. You got your DNA all over some damn well. Why? Because you wanted to be a part of something. I want to feel connected. I want to confess. You connected to everything. You are everything. You from every continent. You from every country. You every nationality. Every ethnicity. What is there to look for? Well, Rook, no, that's you have it all wrong. It's people like you the problem. Because it's because we don't know where we came from. Why don't you know where you came from? Is what I'm asking. You came from the Most High because you are the Most High. Ta-da! What more is there to research? Well, I just want to know. And then y'all actually trusted these people. You trusted that you just put your little stuff in your little. What did y'all do? Swabs or something? I don't know what y'all did. I hope y'all didn't send no blood. I don't know what's worse, blood, swabs, whatever. And you just send it off to some lab for them to tell you you have no record, you have no proof, you have no nothing that would confirm the validity of this. It's just that you sent it to them and they sent it to you and they said this is true. And you went with it because it made you feel a part of something. You needed an identity. You forgot that I am. The only identity I need is I am God. That's it. That finishes it. And though from this moment forward, I don't want to talk about, even when people want to get caught up in like past lives, you trying to figure out what you was doing in the past life and how that's reflecting in this life. I don't fucking care. How about that? How about I'm deciding right now? Even if you say you were born into this world in unfavorable circumstances, okay, you know what? Fine. That's what it was. I'm talking about right now. I'm talking about right now. Here and forward. What do you say it is? That's the only thing that matters, people. Unless you want to stay in the past. Unless you want to stay. It's a choice. I ain't going back. I ain't turning back. I ain't turning back. There's been mainly one thing that I have spent too much time turning back on this year. And I'm very clear on what that has been. And I finally just said, this is it. This is it. Because it's just a choice. It's just a choice at this point. This is it. I ain't got to look back at it no more. I ain't got to tell no stories of how it was this or that, and it made details don't matter. It was a moment. It was an experience. It is what it is. Forward. That's it. I create the story. The pen is in my hand. I'm deciding. You're deciding. You're deciding what it is. You're deciding whether you're cut off. You're deciding that the life that you desire is out of reach, or is in reach, or is in your hand, or it is you. You see how that works? You're the one that's deciding that. You don't want that power. And when you don't want that power, that's fine. You still got it though. You still got it though. Ain't stopping nothing. Anyway, I don't know what the moral of this story was. We kind of bounced around a little bit. Gods don't consider consequences. That's what we started with. When you God, you move. I think only in my favor. I only acknowledge what I accept to be true. 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 And I always remember that nothing has power outside of me. I power it all. No matter what is around me, I can be in the midst of anything. I have to give power to it. I can simply choose again. I can simply choose again. I'm not, if I see some outer things, the worst thing that you can do is now try to be like, why is my inner state? How could I be creating this? Oh my God, what do I need to do now? I'm just choosing. I get a reflection of what's happening on the inner, and then I choose again. I choose it. This is what I'm saying. This is my life now. I don't care what you see, send me. I don't care what notices, what phone calls. I don't care who calls. I don't care what it looks like. I don't care what the doctor says. I don't care what my mama say. I don't care what my daddy say. I don't care what my grandma say, my granddaddy say, my best friend. I do not care. I don't care what the pastor say. I don't care what none of you niggas say. Not in my reality. You don't have no say in my reality. Ain't no free will in my reality. The only one who got free will in my reality is me. You might got free will in your reality, because you can only reflect my assumption of you, my perception of you, my perception of myself. How you gonna have free will in my reality? You don't. You're gonna fall in line. You're gonna be healthy because I said so. I got a couple people that I've helped them in the past, got them straight, right? Like got them back, moving around, and then they went right back, and I got an update about some things, and I ain't even skip a beat. I got a call about it, and that shit didn't even. I lost. Put it this way, my attention was on it at the moment because it was a phone call. After I hung that phone up, I had no awareness of it. Not in my reality. Not in and I ain't even gonna tussle with you. I ain't going through no more telling you what to eat or whatever. I'm just gonna tell you how it's gonna go in my reality. In my reality, I say you are well. I say you are good. I say you are taken care of. I say your body is stronger than it's ever been. I say that you got pure positive energy flowing from the top of your head to the bottom of your feet. I say you are well. I say you're gonna live better than you ever had till you take your last breath. Done. That's what I say. Why? Because I don't consider no other consequences. Even if they don't eat the so and so, even if they don't do the cleanse, they good because I said so. The end. That's a good place to end it, ain't it? Yeah.